All right, so this is what do we call it? Review work. We'll call it review worksheet. Review worksheet. Form 2C. All right. All right. So this is number 11. By the way, it's if you want to look at the page number, it's page 55. It's the worksheet says page 55 at the bottom. Okay. So number 11 is it says determine whether those two lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So it says line CS. So we got to find something on CS, and we got to find line KP. Now, if we want to determine if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither, what are we looking for? The slopes. That's right. That's all we got to do is find the slope of this line CS, find the slope of line KP. If they're parallel, if the lines are parallel to each other, what must be true about the slopes then? They what? They got to be the same. They got to be equal to each other, right? Okay, so if they're equal to each other, if the slopes are equal, then they're parallel. What if they're perpendicular? What do you look for as far as the slopes? Negative reciprocals. That's right. If one slope is the negative reciprocal of the other, right, then they're perpendicular. If neither one of those things are true, if they're not equal and they're not negative reciprocals of each other, then you would say neither. You follow me? So basically, this is just a glorified problem on finding the slope of two lines, basically. All right, so number 11, let's put the points in here. So C is 1, negative 12. S is 5, 4. K is 1, 9. And P is 6, negative 6. All right, so all we're doing is finding the slope of line CS. Well, here's C and S, so we just find the slope of that. Look, you better know how to find the slope on this test, because I'm telling you right now, all right, I'm telling you right now that there's 3 problems on the test, and I probably put 2 more than I should. I probably should just put 1 of these on there. But for some reason, when I made up the test, I put 3 of them on there, where you have to, listen, where you have to find the slope, and I give you 2 points, and you just have to find the slope. That's it. So that's 3 problems, 3. That's 3 problems that should be very, very easy for you. All right? So that's what we're going to do right here. You guys said it already. What's the slope? It's the it's the change in y over the change in x. And when I say the change in y, that means I subtract the y's, put it on top. How can you remember that the y's go on top? Because it's rise over run. Right. It's rise over run. Rise is the y. Okay? It's up and down. It's the y-axis. Run is going across, guys. The x is going across. That's the run, so it's y over x. You can't get it confused, because if you get it confused on one, you're going to miss, I don't know if half the test, but you're going to miss a huge chunk of the test if you can't find the slope between 2 lines. You follow me? So make sure you can do that. And that's one of the easier things that you're going to do in this whole test. So anyway, let's do this. CS. So subtract the y's. And it doesn't matter what order you subtract them in, as long as you subtract the x's in the same order. You follow me? So I'm just going to go negative 12 minus 4. But I have to do what with the x's? 1 minus 5. I have to go in that order if I decide to go negative 12 minus 4. You with me? I could have done this. I could have gone 4 minus negative 12, but then I would have to do what? 5 minus 1. You with me? All right, make sure that you subtract them in the same order. So negative 12 minus 4, I subtracted the y's, and then it's 1 minus 5. And let's see what that is. That's negative 16 over negative what? 4. What does that reduce to? Just positive 4. So that's the slope of CS. Now we got to find the slope of KP. Here's KP. Let's find the slope of that. Do the same exact thing. Subtract the y's. 9 minus negative 6. And then subtract the x's. 1 minus 6. Let's see what we get. 9 minus negative 6 is the same as 9 plus 6, which is 15, over what? Negative 5. Did I do this right? And that's negative 3. Do they have any relationship? They're not the same. They're not negative reciprocals. So what would you say with the slope, or with the slope of these things? You would say what? Neither. And that would be your answer. Your answer would be neither. Make sense? It's not too hard. Just got to be able to find the slope. Please make sure you know how to find the slope. If you can't find the slope, you're going to be dead on this test. All right? So make sure you can find the slope. What's that?
No, I was making fun of your neither.
My neither? Yeah, that's pretty bad, isn't it? It's supposed to be N-E-I. Yeah. Netter. Yeah. Whatever. How about N-E-I? Why does it look like that? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Let's keep going. All right, let's jump to 17 this time. It's a little bit easier. This says, write an equation in slope-intercept form. This is another thing you're going to need to know on the test. There's one or two, I think maybe two problems where it says point slope form. Just as a quick review, what is point slope form? Point slope form. Yeah, y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Make sure you memorize that. That's the PS, point slope form. You follow me? What about the slope intercept form? Slope intercept form. Yeah, that's y equals mx plus b. Make sure you know both of those forms. Make sure that you read the problem carefully. If it says to put it in a certain form, put it in that form. Let me give you a quick example before I do 17 on point slope form. I know this isn't the question that they're asking, but it's on the test, so I figure I'll go over it. So point slope form. Let's say they give you a point, I'm just making this up, 3, -2. All right, and a slope of, I don't know, 5/7. We'll make it crazy. Right? And it really doesn't matter because it's not any more difficult one way or the other if the slope is easy or hard or whatever it is. So point slope form is y minus y1. So what do? It's y minus what? -2, which really comes out to be what? Y plus 2. You with me on that? Equals what? M, which is 5/7, times x minus x1, which is 3. And you leave it like that. I think on the quiz, some of you guys were taking that 5/7 and distributing it through. There's no reason to do that. All right? Don't change it to y equals mx plus b because the question says write it in what? Point slope form. So if they tell you to write it in point slope form, keep it like this. That would be your answer right there. It's as easy as that. No math involved, was it? It's just memorizing the formula, plugging in to the formula, and bang, you're done. You okay with that? All right. So I don't know. I was just thinking off the top of my head. By the way, if you want, on YouTube, go to the 7th period class, and I did review yesterday in that class because they're not having class today. That's why we're not taking the test today. All right. So anyway, that would be a good idea, really across the board. If you're struggling with something, especially if I do a review or something, don't be afraid to go to the 7th period class because it's the same stuff. I teach the same exact thing in both classes. All right, so go to the 7th period honors geometry class. Take a look at what I say there. Maybe I might explain something a little differently. Maybe we might do another example or another problem that we didn't do in this class. So that would be always a good thing for you to do. All right, let's do 17. It says, write an equation in slope-intercept form. I'm writing that form down. As soon as I see slope-intercept form, I'm writing that down. Okay, for the line that satisfies the given equations. This time, and we've done this before, but I'm doing it again because we don't do it a whole lot. They tell you the x-intercept. The x-intercept is 3, and they tell you the y-intercept, and that is -1. All right? Now, this is just so we can kind of visualize what this means. The x-intercept is 3. So if that's a 3, that means my line crosses right there. So what is that actual point? You don't just say it's 3. What is that point? What is it? What'd you say? Is it 0, 3? 3, 0, right. I just couldn't hear what you said. All right, it's 3, 0. All right. The y-intercept is -1, so that would cross about right here, wouldn't it? So what's that point right there? It's 0, -1. So look what I have. I've got 2 points, don't I? I got to just, what do I have to find? The slope and what else? The y-intercept. Well, what do I already know without doing any math at all? I already know the y-intercept, don't I? So really, all I got to find is what? Just the slope. And we've done that before. So the slope, you could just count if you draw a graph, right? What would it be? 1/3, right? Okay, or you could do this. You could go what? 0 minus -1, which is the same as 0 plus 1, and 3 minus 0. You still get 1/3, don't you?
Yep.
Either way you do it. You could look at it the graph, or you could take the points. And basically, that's all the work you had to do. Because when you put it all together, y equals what? 1/3 x. What's my y-intercept? -1. All right? And that's it. Easy. Do you agree? I don't just say that. My other class always accuses me of saying everything's easy. But that is easy. Would you agree? Yeah, it is. All right. Let's pause this, and then we'll go to another. All right, here's our 2 equations. What are you trying to do? You're trying to find the distance. I'm not going to write it down. It's on the paper, though. Find the distance between these 2 lines right here. And they're parallel lines, aren't they? All right, because look, this slope is -2, this slope is -2, and you can see right away. So let's go ahead and do this problem. Now, in the 7th period class yesterday, if you want to look at it on YouTube, you can. somebody had suggested that I do one of in the back of the book. There's all these extra practice problems. You ever look back there? I don't know. There are a whole bunch back there. But what we noticed yesterday is the answers didn't come out quite as pretty as what they do on these worksheets and on the actual homework from the the regular sections. It was crazy, ugly fractions. But if you want a challenge, right? Look at what we did yesterday's 7th period honors algebra or honors geometry class, and you'll see a couple problems that might be a little bit more of a challenge. So if you think you got it down pretty good, go to that, look at the problem that we do, try it on your own, and then see if you get the same answer that we get at the end of the video. All right, so it'd be a nice little challenge for you. Let's graph these. 10. So I don't care if it's exactly right. We'll say that that's at 10 right there. All right, and what's the slope? -2. So I rise -2, so I go down 2, and I go to the right 1. So it'll be around here somewhere. Again, it might not be drawn exactly to scale, but I don't really care because this is just so I have a general idea of what is going on here. All right, I'm not really getting my answer exactly from the graph. It's just a general look to it. Here we go. And then the other one is, let's put the y-intercept, -5, I'd say about right in there. And let's take this. It's the same slope, so I can copy and paste it and put it right there. All right, we good? So what do we have to do? We got to find the distance between these two lines, these two parallel lines. If these lines were not parallel, we could not find the distance between them because it would be all kinds of different distances, wouldn't they? Because they keep getting, keeps getting further and further away. But if they're parallel, it's the same distance. So where are we going to start? We could start at this point, put a perpendicular up to here, or we could start at this point, put a perpendicular down to here. It really doesn't make any difference. So, thank you. So let's do this. Let's go with a different color here. And where do you want to start? You want to start at this point and go up, or this top point and go down? Let's go to this one. You guys are too slow. All right, right there. All right, it's perpendicular, isn't it? That distance always has to be perpendicular. So what are we looking for? Well, we know one thing already. We know this point. What is this point right here? It's 0, -5. And what is this point right here where it intersects? Yeah, we don't know it, so we call it xy. Good. Everybody with me so far? Okay, what do we have to do? We got to find that xy. That's the key to this problem. The rest, the stuff that we've done so far has been pretty easy. Finding this point right here is the part that's a little bit more difficult. So what do? We take that, see where this point of intersection is? What we do is we take the two lines that make that point of intersection. This line and this line right here make that point of intersection. Agreed? So we're going to write down the equation for both of those lines. One of the lines we already know. I already know this one right here, this red one. So let's write that down. What is the equation of this red line right here? It's the top one, isn't it? It's y equals -2x plus 10. Now we got to find the equation of this blue one. And it's really not that hard. Right. What's the slope? Is it -2? Well, the slope of the red one's -2. It's 1/2. It's positive 1/2 because you got to take the opposite sign and then you flip the fraction. Okay, so the slope of the blue one is 1/2. What else do we know about this? The y-intercept is -5. So the y-intercept is -5. So we can put those two things together and get our equation. So what is it? It's y equals what? 1/2 x minus 5. We got it? Those are my two equations. That's the red one, that's the blue one. What do we do with those two then? We're going to set them equal to each other. So I go -2x plus 10 equals 1/2 x minus 5. It's just substitution. I took this, I substituted it in for that y. That's why I can do that. Now I solve for x. Let's do this. Let's add a 2x to both sides just to keep it positive. Is that all right? Plus 5, plus 5. Let's see what I get. That cancels. That's 15. That cancels. It's 2.5, isn't it? What's 2.5? It's 5 halves. All right, so it's 5 halves, what? X. Get rid of the 5 halves by multiplying by 2/5. Come over here, multiply that by 2/5. That goes once. That goes what? 3 times. What's x? It's 6. Let's find what y is. Let's do it real quick. I'm running out of time. What's 1/2 of 6? 3 minus 5 is -2. So what is this point? it's, oh, it's not negative 6. What is it? It's 6, negative 2. I don't have time to do the rest on this video, but you put it into the distance formula, you can find the distance between those 2 points. Okay?